Tonight, Mr. Paul Muni stars in The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse from Studio One at CBS.
Doctor, what's happened to you? Something dreadful. Terrible.
No, I would say it was something rather splendid, Miss Chalmers. At last, after 30 years, I'm a scientist worthy of the name.
With a moment from The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse by Barry Lyndon, we invite you to Studio One, a full hour of dramatic entertainment from radio's celebrated Playhouse. And now, to introduce tonight's great story, here is the director of Studio One, Fletcher Markle.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we present you our version for listening of a startling study in crime and punishment, a Broadway and London stage success of many years ago. The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse by Barry Lyndon is the portrait of a man with an obsession, a secret obsession which endangered his sanity and finally his life. Tonight, starring as the perverse and certainly amazing Dr. Clitterhouse, we're proud and fortunate to have with us in Studio One of America's first actors, an Academy Award winner of Hollywood, and one of Broadway's most highly regarded performers, Mr. Paul Muni. With Mr. Muni, you'll be hearing Everett Sloane as Frank Slade and Charles Irving as Dr. Andrews, with Claire Neeson as Miss Chalmers and Elspeth Eric as Daisy. I know you'll agree that's a pretty wonderful cast. They have a very exciting story to tell. Pleased to begin.
There's a little stir of restlessness in the velvet-hung private meeting room of the faculty club where some 25 leading scientists have been called together to hear the eminent psychologist, Dr. Gordon Andrews, read his latest paper. They have been waiting a long time. But now the double doors of the room have opened and a tense, earnest man enters and hurries to the chairman's table. There are a few whispered words. The chairman frowns and then rises to address the gathering of scientists.
Gentlemen, I regret that I have bad news for you, for all of us. Dr. Andrews will not be able to appear after all. Yes, this is a great disappointment. We're deprived not only of Dr. Andrews' report, but of the opportunity to meet and do honor to this great fellow scientist who has contributed so much to our understanding of the psychology of crime. However, to make up, in some measure, for your disappointment, his assistant, who has brought the sad news, has also volunteered to speak in his place. I'm sure that his remarks will be of interest. May I introduce Dr. I'm very sorry.
Clitterhouse.
Clitterhouse. Dr. Clitterhouse.
Gentlemen, fellow scientists, I'm quite aware of my own unworthiness to take Dr. Andrews' place. The brilliance and authority which he has brought to the study of crime are so incomparable that you may feel it presumptuous of me to choose to report this evening on a small related research project of my own in the same area, if from a different point of view. I ask you merely to remember that in serving the cause of truth, we each shine according to our light. And I believe I can claim that my little research has the merit of being unique. The material I'm going to present to you was obtained from an absolutely new type of investigation into criminality.
You are here.
What's that?
Dr. Clitterhouse, you haven't said anything yet, have you?
Gentlemen, 1,000 pardons. It's my secretary. That is mine and Dr. Andrews. Miss Chalmers, this is a highly important meeting. Surely you realize that interruptions like this...
Dr. Clitterhouse, you haven't said anything yet, so there's still time. Here's the ticket. I went down and got it.
Miss Chalmers, this won't do, you know. I'll have to ask you to wait until after the meeting.
After? Oh, Doctor, once you're away, you can write it. Don't you understand? Write it all down and have it published. Now, here's the ticket, Doctor. The boat's sailing at midnight.
Yes, quite so. Thank you very much, my dear. Thank you. And now...
But you've got to go now. Write your report, Doctor.
I prefer to deliver it in person. So please, Miss Chalmers, unless you want me to ask the chairman of the meeting to escort you...
Please.
It's quite useless, Miss Chalmers.
Useless. You won't listen. Gentlemen, whatever he says, I beg of you.
Miss Chalmers!
Don't believe him! Don't believe him!
Gentlemen, please.
Gentlemen! Mr. Chairman, gentlemen, I realize I owe you an apology and an explanation. Miss Chalmers has a nature quite unsuited to the kind of investigations Dr. Andrews and myself are engaged in. Oversensitive, over-emotional. The constant preoccupation with crime has given her a rather distorted conception of the danger which attends our activities. My own little project in particular has filled her with the greatest alarm. She came here tonight hoping not only to prevent my reporting it, but to urge that I sail for South America at once, rather than speak. Yes, it strikes you as a fantastic reaction. But perhaps by the time I have spoken, your own reactions will surprise you. You hardly are prepared, are you, that I, and in Dr. Andrews' absence, will bring you a report of an experiment which will revolutionize the study of crime? Are you prepared for a report on an experiment unique in history? But of course, I must give due credit to Dr. Andrews at once. It was he who first led me to envision this astonishing project. Yet, it was something he said right after his great book was published. I remember the scene exactly. We sat together in the office we share.
Why don't you get out of science altogether, Clitterhouse?
Dr. Andrews, how can you say things like that even as a joke? When Dr. Clitterhouse has devoted his life to
Now,
science.
Miss Chalmers.
The thing that's foxed you, Clitterhouse, is that you haven't any imagination. Oh, you've got a great little talent for grubbing after the facts. But science needs more than that. You've got to have daring, originality, sheer brass, if you like. The ability to take all those facts and evolve a theory. See what they mean. And that's beyond you, Clitterhouse.
Perhaps it is.
How can you hope to attack an age-old problem like crime and get anywhere without imagination? But why talk about crime anymore? As a subject for scientific investigation, my book has finished it. For 10 years, maybe longer. That's why I say...
Your book, Doctor? What about all the medical data Dr. Clitterhouse got for you at the prison?
Yes, that's of some interest, I believe.
Medical data. What's that? Who cares if a criminal has high blood pressure or an enlarged heart? Make a note of it, but what does it prove? No. Face it, my dear fellow. Pathology hasn't got anything to say about crime anyway. It's psychology's baby. Psychology gets to the root of it. Digs up those old repressed emotions that finally force their way out and into criminal activity.
Well, yes, I quite agree, Dr. Andrews, but still I can't help feeling that a life of crime changes a person physically.
Well, that is the logical assumption. But there's no way on earth to prove it. Unless, of course, you get yourself a little pet criminal to watch so you could observe the changes step by step. Say, that is an idea. Get yourself a real, live, untrapped criminal to watch, Clitterhouse.
I don't see what's so funny about that, Dr. Andrews.
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm giving old Clit the idea of a lifetime. A project that might justify his staying with science. Well, I'm due at the publishers. My book's going into 15 languages, did I tell you?
You did?
Yes.
Oh, well, toodaloo for now. Oh, but say, Clitterhouse, maybe Inspector Childs could tip you off on some evil character he's trying to apprehend. Then all you'd have to do is find the fella, convince him to let you tag along while he robs a bank or some such, all in the interest of science.
Study of a criminal in action. Yes, gentlemen, that was the original idea which had its birth in Dr. Andrews' daring mind. What matters that he laughed when he said it? Conceiving the idea, he thought he recognized at once the impossibility of carrying it out. And if he thought it impossible, perhaps you can imagine, gentlemen, my own reaction when a spark he had tossed out so casually suddenly caught fire in my mind.
Dr. Clitterhouse, what's the matter?
Quiet, Miss Chalmers.
But we were just talking. And then all of a sudden you start taking your own pulse.
95. Pencil? Pencil and paper? I must make a note of it. I've got to make a note of everything from now on.
Dr. Clitterhouse, what's the matter?
Miss Chalmers, you have some notes to type, something to do, I'm sure. I shall be extremely busy for the rest of the day and prefer not to be disturbed. My pulse at that moment, gentlemen, was racing 15 systoles over normal. My blood pressure, which I took immediately, was 135 over 82. Also an abnormally high reading for me. I felt a certain lightheadedness. Not that my palms were perspiring a little and so forth, but the symptoms all seemed very rare to me. That was the immediate physical reaction to the realization that I had it, the perfect plan for studying a criminal in action. Yes, you guessed, of course, what the plan was. By midnight of the same day, I was well underway with my experiment. I had contacted the criminal. Yes, and by midnight, I was hurrying back to my office in the science building, eager to record the first scientific observations ever made of man, before, during, and after a burglary. I say I was eager, but I noted with interest that my heart was no longer racing as it had been earlier. My hand was steady as I opened the door. I will admit, however, to a certain shock when I discovered the office was not empty.
Dr. Clitterhouse.
Miss Chalmers?
I saw your light on up here on my way home from the movies. And you were acting so strangely this afternoon. I was worried about you.
Oh? You shouldn't have been.
I know you don't like my concerning myself, but really somebody must look after you. Doctor, your bag with all your medical instruments. Where were you?
I was at the Parisian Terrace in the penthouse apartment, to be exact.
Oh?
Now, wouldn't you like to know what I was doing there?
Dr. Clitterhouse, it's none of my business, of course.
Perhaps if you used your imagination, Miss Chalmers. Imagination. It's a wonderful thing. Take it from a man who never had any, but then was suddenly visited by an almost miraculous flash of it.
Dr. Clitterhouse, never mind, I'll hang your coat up.
Thank you, Miss Chalmers. I'm going into the lab and take my blood pressure.
Your blood pressure? But, Doctor, all day long you were making tests.
That's right.
But you aren't ill. It's not that. I can tell by the way you act.
125 over 82. Curious. Very curious.
Oh, Doctor, did you know you had some paint on your coat?
What's that?
You must have been near some wet paint. I'll just get the ether and take it off right now.
Paint? I thought I'd taken every precaution. Miss Chalmers.
Oh, my goodness.
Who gave you permission to open that bag?
Why, I just thought the ether... I'm terribly sorry, Dr. Clitterhouse.
No. I apologize for speaking as I did. It's my fault. I should have... Well, but now that it's open...
I just thought the ether for the paint.
Yes, of course. But you see now that the ether isn't in there. So what do you think of what is in the bag?
Why, they're lovely.
You think so?
Lovely, unbelievable. These diamonds, are they real?
Well, I certainly hope so. I should hate to have gone to the trouble I did for false ones.
Dr. Clitterhouse, where did you... I'm sorry, I'm just so overwhelmed. I never dreamed that you own things like this.
Oh, I don't own them. Except by the 9/10th law of possession. You see, I stole them.
Stole them?
Yes, with these very hands. And look, not a tremor. Well, and now you know what I'm doing, Miss Chalmers. Inadvertently, you forced me to answer your questions. I turned thief.
Thief? Oh, Dr. Clitterhouse.
Well. I hardly expected quite such a casual reaction.
Oh, Dr. Clitterhouse, you really startled me for a moment. You looked so convincing.
Really?
But I get it now.
Do you? Miss Chalmers, I'm confessing to you quite seriously that I stole those jewels from the penthouse apartment of the Parisian Terrace. Look in the bag again. See those gloves? to guard against fingerprints.
Oh, Doctor, of course.
And the scalpel, see that?
And what did you use that for? To pry open the lock on the door?
No, of course not. I used that to open the jewel case.
Oh, of course. And the paint on your coat. You got that in the apartment you burgled.
That's right. But see here, Miss Chalmers.
The phone.
Uh-huh. So you do begin to believe me a little. You're frightened because the phone rings.
Who at this hour?
Who? One answers it to find out. Hello?
Oh, hello, Clitterhouse. You are there. It's Inspector Charles.
Charles?
Dr. Charles calling you. Dr. Clitterhouse.
Please, Miss Chalmers. This is rather unexpected, Charles.
Yeah, I'm calling from downstairs. Thought I'd just ask if it was all right to come up. Passing by, saw your light on.
Why, of course. Right up.
That's fine. I'm glad you have no objection.
Oh, none at all.
Is he coming up right away? Dr. Clitterhouse.
A social call. That's all it is.
At this hour?
Of course. We'll just close this bag, however. Take it out to the lab. If you please, Miss Chalmers, we won't mention its contents, will we?
Of course not.
Very well, then. We're ready for Inspector Charles. I see, Charles. You were investigating a robbery in the vicinity, and you just stopped in here to warm yourself.
Yeah, sure. What did you think?
Why, what would I think but that? Matter of fact, I'm glad you did stop in. Just this morning, Dr. Andrews was suggesting that I get in touch with you.
Oh, yeah? What about?
Well, I'm trying out a little original research. Andrews thought maybe I might make a small name for myself if I could get in cahoots with a criminal and study him in action.
Yeah, come again?
Well, Andrews was joking, of course. By the way, that little robbery you're looking into this evening, Charles, is it permissible to ask where it took place?
Oh, sure. It was over at the...
Just a minute. Miss Chalmers? What's keeping you in the lab? Don't you want to say hello to Inspector Charles?
Oh, yes. Good evening.
Well, good evening, Miss Chalmers. Nice to see you.
It's nice to see you.
The inspector was investigating a little robbery which took place this evening. Just where, Charles?
Over at the Parisian Terraces. It was...
Uh-huh. In the penthouse apartment, to be exact?
Well, yes. How did you know?
Dr. Clitterhouse.
Oh, I heard somewhere that the occupants of that particular apartment were away.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so you just put two and two together. Guess our burglar had the same information. But if he'd been just half an hour later, he might not have felt so smart. You know, the Rutledges came home unexpectedly.
Well, that would have been disconcerting.
Yeah, he almost didn't get away with it. Of course, he isn't going to get away with it anyway.
No? What makes you say that?
Well, how's he going to get rid of that stuff?
Ah, yes, that's right. How is he?
That's when we'll get him, of course. You know, it's perfectly clear the fellow's an amateur.
An amateur? Why should you jump at such a conclusion?
Oh, that doesn't take much guessing. The whole technique shows an absolute bungler.
You mean he left clues?
Oh, no. But that doesn't matter. Like I said, we'll get him. And, you know, being an amateur, he'll take the stuff to a pawn shop right off, and then we'll fall on him like a ton of bricks.
Ah, but suppose he doesn't take it to a pawn shop.
Well, there's hardly a fence in town that'd fool with stuff as hot as that'll be.
Oh, there are a few who are daring enough, I guess, with enough imagination, let us say, to know what to do with such hot stuff.
You know, it's funny you should use that word, imagination. Only the other day I was thinking that's what Frank Slade has. The rest of the operators lack. That's why he's been getting away with murder, running stuff right out of the country, almost under our noses.
Frank Slade?
Yeah. You know, he runs a nightclub for a front. The Golden Apple. We're going to bite into his Golden Apple tomorrow night. Get it? Bite right into it, you know, and get the worm.
Just a minute. Let me be sure I understand. This Frank Slade pretends to be a nightclub proprietor, but actually he's a criminal.
Uh-huh.
And tomorrow night you're raiding his establishment?
Yeah, that's right.
The Golden Apple. Mm-hmm. Most interesting, Inspector. I'll be rather busy for a while. Perhaps you wouldn't mind walking Miss Chalmers near her home. It's right across the square.
Why, no, I'd be glad to, Miss Chalmers.
Please, Doctor, I'd rather not. You do need me.
Very well, Miss Chalmers.
Oh, very well. Then I'll say good night, all. Shall I let you know, Clitterhouse, when I nab tonight's crook? Perhaps you'd like to meet him.
Yes. Yes, do that. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Yes. Dr. Clitterhouse, meet Dr. Clitterhouse. to be safe in that cupboard till I have made further arrangements for their disposal.
Then there was a burglary at the Parisian Terrace tonight.
Yes, yes. And those are the proceeds that you've just helped me stow away for the time being.
Oh,
come, Miss Chalmers. Please try to pull yourself together.
But if it is true, then why? What made you do it? What came over you? You, so gentle, so courteous. And then all of a sudden...
You talk as though I'd gone soft in the head, Miss Chalmers. Aren't you able to understand that this is a scientific experiment?
An experiment?
Yes. I grant you it's unique. Unique to the point of being history-making. A study of the criminal in action. Dr. Andrews laughed when he suggested the idea.
Dr. Andrews, it's because of him what he said.
Yes, he laughed. He thought it was an impossible project.
But it is impossible, Dr. Clitterhouse.
It never occurred to him that one might study oneself, engage in a criminal activity. He wouldn't be able to imagine himself in such a humble role. Yes, one place where Dr. Andrews' imagination failed, and mine did not.
Well, I'm trying to understand. And I guess maybe I do. But now you've done it. You've got the data. So now it's really all finished. So why didn't you show these jewels to Inspector Charles and explain it was an experiment?
Finished? You think my experiment's finished?
But what more?
Well, if my study's to be of any value, I must act like a real criminal. There's still much to be done.
But, Doctor...
Come, Miss Chalmers. Let's get our coats.
But it's an astonishing experiment, just as it stands. Dr. Andrews will be amazed.
I'm not doing this for Dr. Andrews' amazement, Miss Chalmers. Dr. Andrews had nothing to do with it. I gave him due credit for the original inspiration, of course, but still you might remember that he laughed.
I know, but...
Although I'm really quite glad that he laughed now, yes. It was really very fortunate for me, just as Inspector Charles' visit, which seemed unfortunate, was really very well timed.
Dr. Clitterhouse, are we to understand this is literal facts? You yourself actually planned and executed a burglary?
Gentlemen, have I been so vague or ambiguous in my report? Of course, I planned and executed it and took all the observations. What else would prompt me to call this experiment unique, revolutionary? You object because I've defied convention. It was once against the established order to question that the world was flat. Galileo and Copernicus should have refrained from their investigations because of that. Not that I would for 1 second compare my tiny activities to their titanic work. A burglary against the new conception of the universe. But I want to be sure of your conviction before I go on. If you balk like frightened schoolgirls at the first step, what will your reaction be to what follows? Gentlemen, fellow seekers after truth, I submit that I am a man schooled for 30 years to seek facts and reject fantasy. Dr. Andrews himself, and I quote his words, said, if I had any talent, it was my devotion to facts. Well, I see you're somewhat reassured. I have your confidence then. And I think you're ready to follow me to the Golden Apple nightclub and my meeting with Frank Slade, notorious receiver of stolen goods. It was easy enough to find the Golden Apple, one of many dingy cellar establishments that crowd into an area devoted to that sort of thing. Actually, coming face to face with Frank Slade was something else again. He had set up quite a guard around himself. The hat check girl denied his existence. The head waiter met my inquiries with a blank stare. I was not deterred, however, but asked for a table up near a tiny stage where the orchestra played. It was here that a woman played a constructive role in my project. Daisy. Daisy, she was called. She was a type of young lady. Well, perhaps I need only say that she wore her dress rather tightly. Daisy was a singer. Taught singer, I believe is the expression. You may imagine my surprise when afterward she came to my table. She greeted me with easy familiarity and sat down.
Hey, you look lonesome, honey. That won't do. You want to talk to Daisy a while?
Well,
Tell Daisy all about it. I bet I know. The little woman ran up a whole lot of bills, and then when you just spoke nicely to her, she burst into tears and said she'd given you the best years of her life. Well, don't you pay any attention. Women get spells like that.
Well, I'm afraid.
Oh, it wasn't like that? She all of a sudden got mad because you didn't get a raise. Listen, dear, it's the same difference. Wives get spells.
But please, you misunderstand. I have no wife.
No?
No. If I did, I might not have to worry about how to dispose of a diamond bracelet, some ruby and diamond earrings, and a few other trinkets I picked up this evening.
Trinkets?
Yes. That's why I want to see Mr. Slade. I understand he can be interested in really good stuff, naturally. I wouldn't bother him if this had been just a small-time operation, but I should estimate that the hall is worth at least $5,000 or $6,000, and I believe that's conservative.
Hey, wait a minute. This still makes sense. A hall, a guy like you. You're stringing me.
Yeah? Well, take a look at these.
Ruby. Hey, those are real. He pulls them out of his coat pockets like they were candy. Look, honey, you shouldn't carry stuff like that around loose. Those are worth a couple of grand if they're worth a cent. How did you ever latch onto a piece of property like that?
I prefer to go into all the details with Mr. Slade. These are hot, of course, very hot, but I'm sure he'll be able to deal with them.
Oh, I'm holding my head. This don't make sense. You talk like you lifted this stuff.
Of course, I did.
Guy like you? You're a professor or something. You're polite, you're proper,
Well, I must congratulate you on your perceptiveness, Daisy. I'm a professor most of the time. That doesn't prevent me from putting theory into practice. You see, I've studied crime for years.
Studied? But you never stole.
I did. I assure you, I did.
You couldn't steal this bracelet or anything else.
A great deal else.
Don't kid me.
Do I look as if I had the money to buy such baubles?
Oh, I'm holding my head. This Frank has got to see.
And that, gentlemen, was how I was enabled to effect a meeting with Mr. Frank Slade. A very interesting type, by the way. Slim, pale, an utterly emotionless exterior. He stared from under heavy eyelids, and then suddenly he moved his hand. I saw a small golden pocket knife. He snapped it open. A light glittered on the tip of its tiny blade. Slade's eyes focused on the blade as he spoke.
And what made you think that story would be of any interest to me, Daisy?
Wait till you see the bracelet, Frank. Go on, show him, Professor.
I wouldn't bother. Jewelry don't interest me much. Instead, you show the professor the way out, Daisy.
But I think you're...
I said show the professor the way out, Daisy.
Okay. Come on, Professor, you'd better go. I guess I made a mistake in bringing you in here. Mr. Slade's not interested in jewelry or anything like that.
No, I didn't really expect he would be, without some more reassuring introduction. But it so happens, Mr. Slade, I'm well acquainted with Inspector Vincent Charles of the 6th Detective District.
What's that?
Mr. Slade, do be careful with your knife.
I said, what's that about Charles? What's the pitch?
Yes, but that knife, it slipped down in your grip. I thought surely you were going to cut your hand.
I asked you a question.
Very well. In my studies of crime, to which Miss Daisy referred, I became well acquainted with Inspector Charles. Knowing my interest in all matters criminological, he was telling me just this evening of his plans to raid your nightclub tomorrow night.
A raid? Hey, Frank.
Keep quiet. Go on, Professor.
I see you're interested in my mentioning Charles' name and the prospective raid. You must be sailing rather close to the wind, with some current operation, Mr. Slade,
Frank, it sounds like he's telling you the truth.
Why don't you keep quiet?
Naturally, I don't expect you to accept any of what I say just on my word.
Naturally.
But after taking whatever precautions you deem necessary, you might await tomorrow night's developments. But I'll be back the night after the raid. And at that time, after we finished our other business, I'd appreciate an opportunity to give you a little physical examination, Mr. Slade.
What?
When that knife slipped in your grasp, it seemed to be an involuntary spasm of your left arm.
Now, look, let's not get personal. Or I might have an involuntary spasm of my right foot.
Come on, Professor. I shouldn't have brought you in here.
That's right. It was a misunderstanding all the way around. Now, just forget the whole thing. Goodbye, Professor.
Slade had begun to open and shut the little pocket knife again. The sound of its clicking followed me out of the office, but I'm afraid my mind was on the welcome I was sure to receive on my next visit. I paid little heed then to the snapping of that knife. I had no premonition of the part it was to play in my experiment very soon.
From Studio One, radio's celebrated playhouse of dramatic entertainment, you are hearing Paul Muni starring in The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse, a version for listening by Johanna Johnston of the play by Barry Lyndon. Our story will resume after the customary pause for station identification. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. From Studio One, we continue tonight's full-hour dramatic entertainment. Paul Muni stars in Fletcher Markle's production of The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse.
Well, gentlemen, during the 2 days between my initial visits to the Golden Apple, Miss Chalmers seemed to realize further pleading was useless. Dr. Andrews, of course, had no hint that I was embarked on an experiment destined to make all his findings on crime as antiquated as astronomical findings before the invention of the telescope. If he had had such a hint, I can imagine he might not have laughed quite so heartily or so often. Now, shall we return to the Golden Apple nightclub? As I've indicated, my reception was more cordial. Daisy greeted me with open arms, quite literally.
Professor! That's a kiss on account Frank won't let on that you really saved our skins. Hey, look at you. You're blushing. Honest, Professor, you are cute. You know it, you're real cute.
For some reason, Daisy seemed to have taken a fancy to me, but naturally my concern was with my experiment, collecting data. Complete physical data on a criminal in action. I'd taken a series of readings on myself before leaving for the nightclub. These are all on the records in my notes here, and as soon as I had turned over to Mr. Slade the jewels I had, that is, that I had stolen 2 nights previously, I questioned him on the subject that interested me most.
Okay, Doc. You gave me one pretty good answer. I'll humor you. Yeah, my arms had spells of stiffening up like that ever since I was a kid.
Uh-huh. Can you remember just when in your childhood it started?
Why, sure. It was right after I ran into the cops for the first time. There was a bunch of us thought we'd be smart and clean out the till of a local cigar store. I was the one that didn't get away. Sure, I can remember all right that cop gaining on me. And then his hand grabbing my shoulder.
Your left shoulder?
Yeah, that's right.
And ever since then, at any threat of danger, your left arm suffers an involuntary muscular contraction and paralyzes. Interesting. Extremely interesting.
Hey, what's that? Any threat of danger?
Well, it was when I mentioned Inspector Charles that your arm stiffened.
That's right, Frank, and you had that knife in your hand like you almost always do, and you cut yourself.
Oh, so that's also extremely interesting. You often have that knife in your hand and cut yourself. You wound yourself. Punish yourself. Perhaps to ward off being punished by the law. Of course. The stab of conscience. And Dr. Andrews accused me of lacking imagination.
As far as I'm concerned, you creep with it. You creep with something, anyway. Look, Professor, this has all been very, well, call it entertaining. But I'm beginning to wonder about you now.
Seems to me you could call it profitable, Frank. There wasn't only that tip-off about the raid, but that stuff the professor brought in tonight. You'll do all right with that.
Yeah, so will the professor. Seems to me he's already doing all right. In a lot of ways. I never realized you regretted not having a college education so bad, Daisy.
Quit kidding, Frank. I just think the professor is sweet.
Thank you, Daisy. It's pleasant to be with a bright young lady like yourself.
Oh, well, ain't that nice? You know, I was just about to suggest that the professor keep in touch. Report in, sort of.
Ah, yes. Now, as to that, Mr. Slade, I suggest I become a regular member.
Of what?
Of your gang, of course.
Well, you're a regular member right now. With all of a member's obligations. And in this club, we arranged to have a sort of a sponsor for new members to sort of keep an eye on.
Whatever security measures you wish to take, that's all right with me. But on my side, by way of proving myself a worthy member, I have a little suggestion.
Yeah?
A job, which I will be happy to plan and execute for the benefit of the group. A job, the proceeds of which will make those of my first operation look sick.
I love the way he talks.
I'd love to know what he's talking about most of the time.
Jewelry of enormous value.
Yeah? You got a plan, Doc?
A simple one, absolutely perfect and foolproof. I feel that there'll be no remarks this time of amateurishness.
Frank, I wish you'd stop playing with that pocket knife. It's distracting, that click-click all the time.
Yeah? The first time it ever bothered you. I'm sorry to have you, distracted, baby. Very sorry.
I thought the relationship between Slade and Daisy merely a sidelight, but I was mistaken, gentlemen. It was Frank Slade's affection for Daisy which led my experiment to its...
Dr. Clitterhouse, what is it?
Strange.
Water. Perhaps a glass of water.
My voice.
Yes. Here you are, Dr. Clitterhouse. Drink this.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's it. It should do it. Your report is most unusual. We should hate to have it interrupted.
Yes, that's better.
Ah, splendid.
Hey, it's all right now. Very curious. It seemed to be a momentary paralysis of the larynx. For a moment, I was totally unable to speak. I'll admit, gentlemen, I was somewhat frightened. Such a thing has never happened to me before. As I was about to say that it was Frank Slade's affection for Daisy which brought my study of crime and action to its inevitable climax. I can skip briefly over the details of the daring theft I had planned in order to consolidate my position with the gang. Everything went precisely according to plan. Before leaving my office that evening, I took a complete physical reading of myself, interrupted only by the unexpected appearance of Miss Chalmers.
Dr. Clitterhouse, I thought you were going to the banquet.
I am, Miss Chalmers.
But you're taking blood pressure readings. Oh, Doctor, for a week now you weren't doing any of that. And I hoped you'd given up on that terrible experiment. I hoped you'd gotten really interested in that project for Dr. Andrews.
Rare old South American poisons. The most worked-out subject in criminology. He throws to me any nonsense that he wants, as one throws a bone to a dog.
No, Dr. Clitterhouse, that's not so. Dr. Andrews has a whole new angle.
Yes, of course. They're psychological in their effect. And I'm to prove that. I, a pathologist, prove another of his psychological theories. No, I'm through with that. Through with being Andrews' stooge, his scullery maid, of hearing his scornful laugh. Well, gentlemen, as I've indicated, the theft I'd planned with Frank Slade went precisely according to plan. Afterwards, for celebration, I met Daisy for a champagne dinner. I had been analyzing the evening's work when suddenly she leaned forward.
I keep wondering what it is about you, Professor. Maybe it's because you're sort of like a little boy.
Huh? I? A little boy?
Yeah, even with that little gray mustache and all, you're like a kid, a real solemn kid, all wrapped up in some big deal. I don't know, there's something about it. I bet you affect a lot of women the same way.
So how about giving his other admirers a chance, huh, Daisy?
Frank.
Good evening.
Hey, come on, Daisy. Time to join the grown-ups now. Well?
You mean I should just get up from the table and leave the professor? I'm not going to. I'm tired of you ordering me around, Frank.
Oh?
The professor and me are talking about science, and we're having a real nice time.
Science, huh? Well, maybe I ought to try talking to him about science sometime soon. Only not here. Yeah. How about tomorrow night, Professor? Could we have a little tutoring lesson? Up where science really lives, huh?
Well, if you're suggesting visiting me at the college, I'm quite agreeable, Mr. Slade.
Okay. Tomorrow night. And be there, Doc.
Professor, I'm worried. Get out of this thing. You don't know what you're doing, and I don't want anything to happen to you.
Don't worry, Daisy. I know exactly what I'm doing. So I was in my office the following night, willingly enough. But so were Dr. Andrews, Miss Chalmers. Like other great men before him, Dr. Andrews was not slow to appreciate his own worth. And on the evening of which I speak, I was not only annoyed and bored, but extremely anxious to have both Andrews and Miss Chalmers out of the office before the arrival of Slade. Andrews, as usual, was holding the floor.
The important thing is to give a real picture of the criminal mind, harboring a festering resentment against some long-ago wrong, trying vainly and endlessly.
Yes. You said all that in your book.
You interrupted me, Clitterhouse.
That's right. You were just about to say that the criminal is working out a revenge for some long-forgotten injury, working it out against society instead of against the actual perpetrator of the injury. A lovely theory, but quite unproved.
Well, look here
Did
now.
any criminal ever confess to you that that was the reason for his behavior? No. You dug up some slight out of his stories of the past, easily enough. Who hasn't been slighted sometimes? Wove your theory to it.
Well, now, really.
You regret the fact that your remarks about crime were cut short, but might you not perhaps regret the fact that while you were drinking your coffee, eating dessert, a real criminal was stalking the halls of the building in which you ate and where you sat, and you, sitting there, had no idea, no conception of this man, what happened to him, his heart, how it was beating, whether steadily or what, whether his blood pressure was normal.
Well, what makes you think his heart was beating normally?
I've been trying to cultivate my imagination at your suggestion, Dr. Andrews.
Let's see here, Clitterhouse. What's got you so cocky tonight? Those poisons.
Yes? Well, what about the poisons? They're out in the lab.
Have you finished up your experiments with them? Found any justification for my theory that they're really harmless?
I've found no justification for that theory. If I may suggest it, Dr. Andrews, sometimes you try to carry your psychological imagination too far.
Yes?
However, we can discuss it some other time. I'll give you my findings in detail, but right now I have, Dr. Andrews, my heavens, how could I have forgotten? The dean wants to see you this evening on an urgent matter.
The dean?
Yes, he called. Something about representing the college at some intercollegiate forum. You'd better go over to his house right away.
Well, yes, I guess I had. And you, Clitterhouse, you'd better see to your memory. That's not the first thing you've forgotten. I'd say you're sort of forgetting your place around here, too.
Dr. Clitterhouse.
Yes. Now, if you'll be so good to leave, too, Miss Chalmers, I'm expecting someone momentarily.
Doctor, what's happened to you? Something dreadful, terrible.
I would say it was something rather splendid. At last, after 30 years, I am a scientist worthy of the name. Dr. Andrews' equal. Yes, at last, his equal.
Dr. Clitterhouse. I'm sorry, but I can't stand it. You'll be caught.
I don't think so.
When will it be done? How many burglaries must you commit? What more must you do?
Oh, I don't know, Miss Chalmers. I only know that my work is not yet complete. Not yet, but now...
No. Somehow I've got to try. Doctor, if I told you science isn't everything, there's such a thing as love.
Ah, yes. Curious you should mention that. My observations this evening will be on the subject of how far a criminal will go in the interest of love.
But that wasn't... I'm trying to tell you that you need a vacation, Doctor. If we could go someplace together, I'd take care of you.
Ah, my visitor. If you'll be good enough to open the door for Miss Chalmers and then just run along.
But, Dr. Clitterhouse, didn't you hear what I said?
Please, Miss Chalmers. Mr. Slade is an impatient man. And I am a little impatient, too. And now, gentlemen, I interrupt my account of that scene in order to give you some curious clinical data. As Miss Chalmers went to open the door to Frank Slade, I could suddenly feel my heart pounding, as it had not pounded the night of my first robbery. It was literally racing. Quickly, I felt for my pulse. An estimator was beating at the rate of 105 systoles a minute. I felt extremely lightheaded, but not giddy. There were other symptoms recorded in my notes here. I mentioned these phenomena because of their seeming lack of relevance. I had not the slightest premonition of what was to come. I emphasize that, not the slightest. I felt no fear of Slade, that there was no idea in my mind that...
Your voice again.
I'd have to...
Water.
I'd have to...
More water. That did it before.
Professor! Hey, Doc!
Who's that? Over at the door.
Professor, your secretary called me. She said come right away and test... Listen, Professor, don't talk anymore. I gave that cop a runaround. He hasn't got an idea in the world. You're okay if you just scram out of here.
Mr. Chairman! Mr. Chairman, will you please remove this young woman and lock the door?
Remove me? Professor, you're doing it to yourself. You're putting your head in the noose.
I ask that you do it at once. The most vital part of my report has not yet come. In the name of science, I demand it.
Yes, of course, Doctor, at once. If you'll just come along, young lady.
Okay, I'm just trying to save the poor guy from himself.
Yes, quite so.
You understand? I don't...
If you'll just come back after the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, I apologize for the interruptions. You may have guessed that the young woman was the Daisy to whom I've referred. Not so much the hysterical type as thoroughly conditioned in fear of the law. She would try to prevent my speaking now on general principles. But because of her interruptions and the slight difficulty I seem to have with my voice, I shall come to the climax of my report as rapidly as possible. Frank Slade came into my office that night, closing the door after him. Quietly, without emphasis, he stated his ultimatum.
I guess this is where we part company, Professor. It's been nice while it lasted, but we don't want to overdo it.
I wondered briefly if the man took me for a simpleton, if he thought he could scare me just by staring at the tip of his pocket knife, which he had in his hand. But it was I who underestimated Frank Slade. Suddenly, he snapped shut the pocket knife, and he moved swiftly to the safe which stood beside his desk. Unluckily, I had not locked it when putting away my notes that afternoon. He reached for the knob, swung the door open.
This where you keep those notes you're all the time making, huh? Ah, here we are.
No, you don't. Give those to me, Slade.
Are you kidding?
You don't know what you're doing, what those represent.
You bet I do.
Evidence of the greatest experiment since the study of crime began. My whole life as a scientist, everything I ever worked for, dreamed of.
Take it easy, Doc. Those papers mean a lot to me, too. Without this stuff, you got nothing on me. You can talk to your friend Inspector Charles as much as you like, and I'll be 100% in the clear. So long, Doc.
Slade!
Oh, Daisy asked me to say goodbye for her, too. I wouldn't try looking her up again, Doc.
Just a minute, Slade.
Yeah?
You don't need to be in such a hurry. I see now that your point is well taken. You never meant to let me keep those notes. If it weren't Daisy forcing your hand now, it'd be somebody else later.
Well, you're not so dumb after all.
Yes, I guess I'm not, huh? Nevertheless, I was quite dumb, hoping I could justify a wasted life by... Well, you're not interested in that. Well, I'm very grateful to you anyway for sparing my life and not pulling your knife on me.
My knife? You don't mean that little nail file I carry around. This? You scared I might kill you with this?
You mean it's not dangerous?
Oh, for Pete's sake. Take a look at it.
But I always thought, surely the point... thank you. It is rather sharp, isn't it?
If I wanted to rub you out, Doc, I got better ways than... You nervous tonight, Doc?
Oh, excuse me. I've got it. How about a drink before we part, Slade? Yes, that's right. Let's be sports about it. I'll be a good loser. I've a bottle of fine scotch out in the lab.
Hey, you got my knife, Doc.
Yes, you have my note. But, of course, I'm going to give your knife back to you. Just a minute now. Yes, here we are. Here's the bottle and your knife.
The blade's open.
No, I guess it must have snapped open accidentally. Well, sit down, Slade. You can put those notes on the desk beside you. I assure you I won't try to grab them. I see that I'm defeated, and I acknowledge it. And here's your knife.
Thanks.
I guess it's your habit of playing with that knife, with that blade all the time that made me think the knife was dangerous. Well, here's a drink to an experiment that might have made me famous.
You know, all of a sudden, I wonder if I ought to be suspicious of this drink.
Really? You think that I've given up the notes too easily, perhaps?
Could be.
Well, of course, there is a copy of them.
What?
Inspector Charles has the copy. I say, your knife. Your arm stiffened and it slipped.
Never mind that. You say Inspector Charles...
But it cut you.
Has the...
What's the matter, Slade? All of a sudden, you look rather surprised.
What's happening? I never touched that drink. What's wrong with me?
Well, I knew Dr. Andrews was wrong about that poison being harmless. A neat little irony, if I do say so, gentlemen. A self-inflicted scratch from his own knife. And now I give you the first clinical data ever recorded of the physical reactions of a murderer immediately after his crime.
Dr. Clitterhouse, just a minute.
Yes, Mr. Chairman? Yes, gentlemen. If you have some question, will you kindly speak one at a time?
But we to understand, this is unprecedented.
You're confessing to murder?
You're a murderer.
What else would have given my study its final, ultimate completeness, gentlemen? I realized the scientific necessity of my actions even as I was getting Slade's body out of the office. Gentlemen, fellow scientists, unprecedented, yes. I warned you of that. But are you still going to allow conventional attitudes to close your minds to revolutionary facts?
Mr. Chairman, on the suspicion that even half of what Dr. Clitterhouse has just told us is true, I move that we call the police.
And hope I will confess. Slade was found dead in his car in front of his nightclub. Only ascertainable cause of death, heart failure. The particular poison with which I tipped his knife leaves no trace whatsoever. Only a voluntary confession on my part will enable the police to arrest me. But I'm not confessing. I'm reporting to you, my colleagues and fellow scientists, I thought, the details of a murder, a perfect murder, and the first murder ever committed under rigorous scientific observation.
Good Lord, is this possible?
Yes, they asked the same question when Galileo cried out that the world was round. They looked incredulous as you gentlemen look. They ran for established authorities as you gentlemen would run. And friends, yes, friends of those revolutionary ancestors of mine, yes, and I claim their kinship. Friends of theirs pled with them to recant, to flee, even as Miss Chalmers pled with me.
Yes, that's right. She wanted him to escape.
Then it is true. Of course it's true, you fools. But have you all got minds like Miss Chalmers? Weak, silly, sheep minds? Unable to recognize the achievement when you stumble over it? Miss Chalmers, who saw a report of Slade's death in the paper, became frightened and ran to Dr. Andrews. Dr. Andrews, of all people, who ran to him and begged him to help me. He should help me. Well, he saw how little I cared for his help. He suggested that I accept the South American post which had been offered to him. I made sure he heard what I thought of taking his leavings before I left him tonight.
Mr. Chairman, in the light of what we've heard, I suggest we inquire further into Dr. Andrews' inability to be present tonight.
Dr. Clitterhouse, you've heard the question from the floor. Exactly why was Dr. Andrews unable to come tonight?
I find that question irrelevant. Is there anyone here who believes that he would have heard anything comparable to my report if Dr. Andrews had been present? Yes. Very well. On that concession, I'm willing to close my remarks and...
Come on, open up in there. Unlock this door.
What's that?
I said open it up, and we'll break her down.
Yes, I'm coming.
Stay where you are, Mr. Chairman. If it's someone who wants me, let them come to me. They'll find it's a waste of time. You can prove nothing. Nothing.
Huh?
Why?
You thought that Andrews would do me in, eh? Eh, Clitterhouse? Well, I'm tougher than you thought.
Andrews. Dr. Clitterhouse.
Okay, tell me.
Now, take it easy, boys. No more rough stuff than you can help. The poor man's out of his mind, and I share the blame. I've carried my joking too far.
Dr. Clitterhouse, all you've got to do is talk, and they'll see you're not responsible.
Oh, poor chap. I never meant to have my theories proved on you, old man. Why didn't you let out some of your hate against me to my face, fellow? I never realized how you felt. Why didn't you do something earlier?
Dr. Clitterhouse, what are you trying to say?
Hey, what's this? Can't he talk?
Dr. Clitterhouse, what's happened to your voice?
Don't tell me he's lost his voice.
Oh, he never could talk back to you.
Seems not. Had to act out his revenge and resentment. Stole because he thought I'd stolen ideas from him. Murdered, still trying to get even with me. And what has he proved? My theory about the psychological motivation for crime.
He's trying to say something. But he can't. And that's the physical result. That contraction of the larynx. He's proved his own theory, too.
Yeah, and still giving me the last word.
No, wait. Listen.
I want to say science. Science has the last word.
From Studio One at CBS, you've just heard Paul Muni, starring in Fletcher Markle's production of The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse by Barry Lyndon. Another full-hour dramatic entertainment from radio's celebrated Playhouse. Tonight's script was especially prepared for this series by Johanna Johnston. The original music was composed by Lana Domian and conducted by Alexander Semler. Now again, Mr. Markle.
May a producer identify the principals in our cast tonight? In the foreground
Dr. Clitterhouse.
was played, of course, by Mr. Muni.
Frank Slade.
Was played by Everett Sloan.
Dr. Andrews.
Was Charles Irving.
Miss Chalmers.
Was Claire Neeson.
Daisy.
Was Elspeth Eric.
Inspector Charles.
Was played by Alan Devitt. Actively assisting were Hedley Rennie, Ivor Francis, Louis Quinn, and Gregory Morton. Next week from Studio One, a wonderful story which is considered the high point in the literature of deception and conspiracy. In fact, of all the stories of international intrigue and espionage, no other is more swift and thrilling than this adventure romance by the great master of the adventure romance, Mr. E. Phillips Oppenheim. Our story is The Great Impersonation. We hope you'll be with us. Now, until next week, in The Great Impersonation, this is Fletcher Markle with a good night, and thank you from all of us in Studio One.
This is Lee Vines, and this is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.